voice recordings from everybody. We are, we have like 10?
We have 14 that we can listen to. Not all are very god-awful horrible, but I think there's something that can be fixed about all of them. I do want to say, though, that I audited phone calls last night, so it doesn't have the name of the person that you're speaking with when you're on the phone call. It just has phone numbers, random numbers. I go through, I click. You all need to remember that every single phone call that you make from this building is recorded. Every single one of them. When your neighbor is on the phone, their phone's being recorded. What you're saying is being recorded. So let's just keep that in mind whenever you are calling your spouses and doing child care, calling in for excuses to be able to leave work, calling in random people to make up your talk time. Remember all of that. Remember that. Some of you will be in my office on Monday. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So, not too much. I'm going to go ahead and move forward. We are going to listen to some recordings. The first thing I want to do is when you hear your voice, I want to hear one positive.
Whose handwriting is this? No name.
Me. I want to hear one positive thing and one thing that you could have improved on, and then we'll go around and we'll go ahead and see other people's ideas, and then I'll follow up with how I feel it should have been taking place. Is that okay? So Miss Alicia, I don't know how to give you a laptop.
I will do that. Okay, here's the first call.
This is Brady. How can I help you?
Hi, how's it going? I'm calling in reference to a ticket that we had opened and it's closed, but it's not fixed.
Oops, okay. Do you happen to have that ticket number?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It is 389-2862.
Okay, give me just a moment. Pull it up.
Okay.
Why do I go first?
For Brentwood, public safety. Closed that yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, so just to verify, because I know you guys have y'all can have quite a few tickets maybe going at a time. It's for serial number CNQCB61090.
Correct.
Okay. All right, and this is not fixed, huh?
Right. My name's Tom Gallo. I'm the one that confirms everything on his, like the log that we're looking at.
Uh-huh.
We were up there yesterday looking at the printer, and he claimed it's not the scanner itself, it's the drivers that he's seen that before, but he can't see anything else wrong with it. Well, I tested
Vegas
it
person,
instead,
mute
and
your
I
phone.
fixed the issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Wait, let me, this is, it's already in billing, so I'm gonna have to open a new ticket on it. So I will go ahead and do that now, and, someone should be contacting you shortly. As soon as I get it open, it'll go into triage, of course, because that's the process. So, someone will contact you shortly, and then we'll get a technician out there for you.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I have all the information that the technician can need, and I have a document that we scanned with like with the error with the line that's going down, and also, so if they need that, if they
Okay.
have to reference it by.
You know what? Go ahead and give me. What I had as the previous problem description is when scanning, there is a bluish green streak streak that goes across the entire page. This happens every job. The unit has been cleaned on a recent repair and restarted multiple times. The printer is on the 3rd floor administrative building in Catherine Hosey's office.
Captain Ho, yes.
Hosey's, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. All right. So is that exactly what's still happening, or are there more details that I should add?
Right, if you want to add scanning from the feeder to email.
To email. Okay. And is that the only time it happens now, or is it happen every time, but it also now happens here?
It's everything, well, that's when it happens, every time from the feeder to email, it happens every single time.
Okay.
She has to scan from the feeder.
Okay. All right, no problem. I will put that all in, and I will get it open for you guys, and you'll be hearing from our tech support agents here shortly.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Brandy,
I'm sorry, what was I supposed to give you?
I want one good thing, one bad thing,
Well, it was
Not
polite,
one bad
which is
thing,
very
but
much unlike me.
one thing you could improve on.
Probably not saying so much.
Okay.
I don't think you realize how much you say it until you listen to yourself.
And you don't really realize how much y'all sound like Darth Vader's father. In the phone. It's so
See,
funny. And so I went back and I listened to some of my phone calls and I'm like, you really got to do better.
It's
not like you're like got an element
either,
sitting on my
so
chest.
it muffles nothing. So you're sitting there like this trying to type when you don't have a headset. So you're like right up in the thing but because we don't have any in this building that work that nobody's using.
I don't have one at home either, so I have to do everything on
They
speakerphone.
did, and
because
they
my phone
ordered
doesn't
just
reach anywhere near my
They
desk.
gotta reorder it.
Okay, so I'm sorry, the one thing I can improve upon is obviously a little less time.
Okay. And anybody else have any suggestion for it? Positive or negative?
I have a positive one. She confirmed everything she could have possibly confirmed on there.
Mm-hmm.
Way more than I ever think. I never think to confirm the serial number. Then half the time they don't know the serial number anyway. But she definitely confirmed a good bit of information to make sure that was the right site.
And to speak to that, so since we are humans and our brains do fail us, that's why you all have scripts to follow.
So, okay, so my feedback, it was a long-winded call. So, not that you did anything wrong, but I think that you could have navigated the, how do I put this nicely? You,
Sped it up.
no, just taking control over the conversation a little bit. So like when it was like, oh, okay, this ticket's not open, or this ticket's in billing, it sounded like you weren't really sure of yourself.
Well, it's
So,
because I will say I'm very unfamiliar. I don't open that many calls. I may open a call once every 3 weeks. So yeah, it's not a familiar process. So yeah, it would take me a little bit longer. So learning that process would speed it up. Not that I don't know it, it just still takes me a while to do it. It's not something I do on a regular basis.
Okay. And that's understandable. You just could have, I feel like you could have exuded confidence and then been like, I'm definitely gonna get it handled for you, in the spirit of customer service. So you definitely, like, you handled it correctly in the appropriate way. I just think that it could have been like more reassuring to them.
Okay.
Your ums. And we all gotta work on it. I do it too. And in fact, when I'm on conference calls, I count how many ums I have because I'm not allowed to say on conference calls.
Why?
Why am I not allowed? Because
Not
I'm
a
speaking.
communication major,
Huh?
not the news lady.
Why am I not allowed to say
Yeah.
It's not appropriate.
It's unprofessional.
It's not professional. It's not appropriate.
It's a filler word when you don't know what to say.
And
It
it drops like,
doesn't.
it-
It doesn't come across like I do know what I'm talking about.
yeah, it just,
I definitely know what I'm talking about
it's
when I'm
a
on
nervous tick.
It's a, yeah.
And it'll drop psychological cues to the other person in the conversation that you are less
Sure.
Right.
yeah.
And so I'm not allowed to say it, so I count how many I say. And then I have to,
Realistic.
huh?
It's realistic.
It's not realistic.
It is,
to
you're
not say
human.
it.
My speech professor said just to pause instead of saying he just paused for a second.
Well, Candace, what about since you count your ums, instead of your goal being stopping like the next time, is to be like, say once less each conference call or twice less.
Oh no, I do. I have my set of goals, but it's the way that I have to present myself on a conference call. So absolutely, I count them, and my goal is to not say them anymore. My goal is always to be better than I was yesterday.
But you definitely don't realize how much you say it until you hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, mine didn't do that.
Jim wants it.
That's what wasn't I drinking?
This is Grace on from Barrister. On your work order for earlier today on 4th Street in San Bernardino.
Hello, this is
Hi, Nick, this is Grace on from Barrister. On your work order for earlier today on 4th Street in San Bernardino, did the customer, like what happened on site? Did the customer so-and-so?
Oh, that was a Big Mac I did. I waited, I got the tracking number and it said it's out for delivery. I went there, waited, I didn't go to the customer. And then I got
Nothing he's saying,
video
no.
guys and suddenly when they called them, they said, oh, we can do this ourselves. So they kind of canceled the tech on site. So they got responsibility for the part and everything, so.
Okay, so they are just doing something for it.
Yeah,
That's what I just wanted to confirm.
yeah, that's the person that I talked to was Julie, extension between. So she got everything in her hand, and she said the ticket around it.
Alright, so I'll go ahead and remove you from this ticket.
Okay?
Alright, thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, bye-bye.
I
Do you know you opened with that?
well, I mean, I didn't, well, I called him because the notes are in the call and I seen what happened and that was that.
So is there anything you could have done better?
No, I don't know. I mean, probably, yeah, there's always something you can do better, but it was a pretty simple call.
Okay. Is there anything that you felt like you did absolutely excellent?
I looked at the notes and I confirmed what he did, so I confirmed like a lot of those notes were there and what happened. So
Okay. What was your outcome?
I got him removed from it, then I called to confirm that the customer was doing it.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything?
I do.
Ms. Pink?
She could speak up. I could hardly hear her. I didn't know who she was.
No, I think my headphones broke because sometimes I scream, they're like, I can't hear you.
Larry, you said you had something?
Yeah, I have a positive and a negative. The positive would be that she wrapped that up really fast. I would have taken a year to do that because I need to really work on my efficiency. So that's something I can learn from her is how fast she wrapped that up. There was no need for detail. There was no need for the why. I mean, so that's something I could learn. I thought that was good. For me, instead of being like, what happened, I would have been like, I'm calling to get updates regarding work order number, blah, blah, blah. And then usually that works and you don't sound like,
Well, I asked what happened because of the notes that were there. Like, I remember this call. That's why I asked what
If
happened.
his response would have been, what had happened was, I think we all would have died just now. It just died.
So I liked that it was a quick call. It was very to the point. Hey, what the heck, right? I think I would have explained myself a little bit. Hey, I see some conflicting notes in this ticket. I just wanted to make sure that we have these stories straight. Can you tell me a little bit more? And then he would have just told you, this is my spiel, blah, blah, blah. All right, thank you so much, sir. I'm going to remove you from this ticket. Thank you for choosing Barrister, blah. Okay? I always say thank you to our technicians. I don't like to always say thank you, but I always have to say thank you. They pay my check, and they make sure that I do have a check. And so I feel like that's something that we could all work on, is just definitely saying, hey, thank you technician for helping us out on this work order. Even if it's bad news, saying, hey, we're canceling your work order. I know you're halfway to site, but we're canceling a work order because you didn't check parts and they're not going to be there till 5 days from now. Make sense? But thank you for helping us out on this one. So that's just something that I would work on. Anyone in Vegas? I haven't heard anyone from you.
Because their phones are on mute.
Well, right, but they have chat as well, and they're not saying anything.
I basically have the same feedback that you guys do. I haven't found anything initial, but if I do, I'll speak up.
Okay.
Yeah, so Charlotte is a lot like you. She does not mind speaking her mind. She does. If something is bothering her, she is going to let you know. Next one.
That is true.
All right.
Yeah, I just got a phone call from you guys, from the computer fixed. Oh, there was some of the messages. Can I call back tomorrow? You open tomorrow? Are you open tomorrow?
No, we're not open on Saturday.
Oh, I'll call back Monday then. I have a business in the car. Okay, bye.
You can't even understand.
I can't understand that,
Like-
for sure. For that.
It's like
I
you got
understood him perfect.
food in his mouth.
It's good and bad.
The good is that I didn't get highly upset with him, because when I can't understand somebody, it really works on my nerves. And so I really stayed and remained calm, and he didn't want to take anything further. I answered his questions, and I was quite pleasant with him, and the call was wrapped up relatively quick.
Anything you could improve on?
Maybe I could have prompted him maybe for more information, to where maybe I could have helped him further, but again, like I said, I couldn't hardly understand what he was saying as it was, so I just let
And he
that
already
one.
kind of sounded like he was a little, in the phone call, like he was already a little flustered himself.
Yes, so I didn't,
So-
yes, I kind of let him
That's
go.
another thing you have to listen to on phone calls is that person's voice. If you can hear that a person is flustered
Mhm.
already,
Right.
kind of gotta like.
But as a customer service rep, you also have to learn how to calm that person down.
Exactly.
Because now what has happened at this point is whether he was going to be able to work a ticket, close a ticket, find out information about a ticket is prolonged all the way until Monday instead of being worked that day and closed. And the goal is to close tickets.
And we're open 24 hours a
Yeah,
day,
we're not closed.
and he could have easily called me that night or the next day, because I'm sure
What,
I was
I
an
didn't
after
even
hours.
get to understand, though, was he a tech or what?
he was the customer.
Oh, he was actually
Yeah.
a customer, I'm like,
Yeah, because he said I was calling about my computer being. fixed.
right, about the computer being
You
fixed,
understood
okay.
that?
Yep, right.
All I understood that he had someone had left a message for
And
him.
about the ticket number, right, yeah, some of it I understood, some of it I didn't.
Yeah.
He was talking
I didn't.
loud into, like,
And
he was
that's- and
directly
that's
into
part
the
of-
phone, and that kind of
But
jumbled
that's
it.
part of taking control of the conversation.
Right.
Having a problem understanding you. Can you slow down a little bit for me? What's your name? What is this? Getting all that extra information.
But we are open
But he
24 hours.
kind of wrapped it up, because my next question, usually if a customer tells me, if I ask them, oh, do you have a work order number? And they say, well, no, they didn't leave that. And I'll say, well, what's your zip code where the work site is? I said, I can look it up in that way. And they'll give it to me, and bam, I'll put that in and I'll find it for them. But, he seemed like he was impatient, because he needed to do something else. Like he said something about his cab or something. I don't know what he said.
Okay. Anyone else? Any feedback at all?
I can say, because I sit real close to Sharice, that she normally does ask for a zip code. But I would agree that guy did seem like he was very busy and he just wanted to call back.
I don't think anybody wants to call back. Do you know we had 20-minute hold times on priority yesterday? So I don't think anybody ever wants to call back. I would have taken control over the conversation, definitely, and told them, all right, well, I'm here to assist you. Let me get your zip code, or let me help you out. What you said, someone wants your voicemail. Do you remember what it was pertaining to? Do you have an appointment? It kind of gives you a direction to go to, right? Additionally, we are open 24/7. Every holiday I work.
Okay.
or she works.
Which makes me so sad. I don't
And so every actual holiday, I'm on call, and additionally, so we are open 24/7. There's not a day that he can't get an answer that he needs.
Okay.
And so I definitely would have taken control of that conversation. We have Charlie who says, same idea, trying to get more information, someone always available to answer the phone. So basic feedback, just we got to push for that information because for all we know, it was an HP break fix ticket, right? And that technician was waiting for a phone call back, saying, can we go to site? Right? And now we don't know, so we delayed that customer, and we have a negative score on a survey, which means you have affected 1, 2, 3, 4 people's jobs, right? So we always got to take into account how many jobs it's going to have to take, as opposed to the one where you could have been like, let's just fix it.
And fix it right then and there.
All right?
Thank you for holding. This is Tatiana. May I have the ticket number you're calling on?
Hi, Tatiana, this is Mark Cisneros.
How are you?
Hey, I did a call earlier today that I was trying to close an event, but it's not letting me do anything.
What's your ticket number?
389, there's 2 tickets at the same site. 13892621.
No attitude.
And the other one,
This is already called. What is the other ticket number?
is it closed with my times or is it, I hope, I mean,
Able to see the
it's closed to be paid?
Yes.
Okay, how about 3893137?
Okay, well, this one is still open. It needs to be closed. What time did you leave?
At 9 o'clock.
Okay. And the name of the customer on site would be?
It was a POC, is it Tammy CRT?
And you were capable of completing the required work?
Yes,
Was the equipment damaged at all?
I repaired the equipment,
And it is repair and functioning to the customer's satisfaction?
yes.
Alright. Well, if you could go ahead and give me a brief description of the work you did on site today?
Can you tell me really quickly, because it's dark in my car and I can't read, do you have a model of which one? Hang on a second, let me just take a look at it. We're doing
I went
3137,
over
right?
and like, sir, you have access to the portal.
But he
Please
called
use
in and
it.
said
They
he
did.
had problems with it.
I just
So that's why I called in.
reformatted the hard
First ticket that
drive
you gave her,
and
it was already closed.
reflashed the
They have a
firmware
tendency to
into
do
the
that.
unit.
They'll always try to go to the call that they've already got closed out for. Oh, I can't do anything with it. Well, it's because it's already closed.
Yep, and then there'll be 6 other tickets.
Yep. But Friday, they were all having trouble with the portal, and it wasn't just Mark.
Who's that?
Mark Cisneros.
That's Mark
Alright,
Cisneros? I like
and,
Mark.
I'm sorry, you said the name of the customer to confirm the unit fully functional with what?
It's the POC on the ticket, it's,
Tammy, right?
yeah, Tammy.
Alright, you're all set?
All right, I'm concerned about the other one, because I didn't give closing times or do anything on the other one. They were both at the same time.
What was the ticket number?
It was,
And see, Mark never
3142,
does-
389,
Girlfriend or daughter or
3142.
somebody does all of this stuff for him. He doesn't have it.
Fired
all.
her.
That one also, I repaired it without.
He fired
any
her?
parts. I
What?
She's still going for me.
What? Oh,
was able to
damn.
hold
No wonder.
3142.
Wait, it was his
I'm guessing
daughter or
it's
something,
the
right?
ticket number
She was
earlier.
saying that
It's in tech completion.
Barrister hadn't paid on it. We actually did.
She's listening to this.
10 o'clock.
And this is the same customer on site?
Must let it.
You can say they're all in close proximity there in Vegas, like you can hear the other person's conversation over hers.
Alright, if you could go ahead and give me a description of what you did on site here.
On this one, I removed the scanner enclosure, and I reset the scanner to its origin position, and I tested the unit with the end user, and everything works fine.
I swear I'm not sick, it's just
I don't plan on licking your mouth, so I'm good.
Alright, well, okay.
All right, thank you very much.
don't put anything in my mouth, I fight whatever gets put in my mouth.
Focus, guys.
Be careful. Some of them do that.
Okay. So Tatiana's not in today, so she's not gonna be able to give us a good and a good feedback and a positive learning experience. So everybody else, what was your thought?
She sounded bored.
She's very
She sounded
monotone.
robotic.
It sounded like she didn't like talking to him.
She sounded like she had a very miserable day, but she could have. She sounded it.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything good out of that phone call?
I mean, she took care of what needed, right, I was gonna say, she took care of what needed to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And I don't think she could have done it any faster, quite frankly, because I've closed that calls and bam, and it takes forever. So,
And while you're closing calls is that little moment of, silence. I'm gonna try to fill that with, so how's your day? Where are you going? Where are you traveling to?
Yeah.
Eating any lunch or anything like that?
Otherwise, it's just awkward silence
Right.
where you're typing, they're like, you still there? Are you still there?
They'll
Like,
ask
yeah,
questions.
I'm
Are you
waiting
still
on my
there?
computer to
The
load.
phone drop?
I have a question, actually, something that made me have a question. So when, like, she said, what did you do on site? And he's like, could you tell me? Because he was, like, driving and it was dark. Usually, like, for me in those cases, I'll either be like, are you driving? Do we need to take care of this later? Because I don't want them to be in danger. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I also will go back to my part detail and see what parts I had and say, okay, did you install blah blah? Did you install this? Is the unit functional? And just, are we allowed to do that? Or does everything have to come right out their mouth?
No, you can ask them if the parts are installed. In fact, that's what you should be doing. Hey, did you
Okay.
install this part?
That's what
What
I
about
do.
this one? Was this one coded to you correctly? Are you sure you're supposed to be installing this one? I mean, if you have 8 parts, then 8 parts in 4 trips. You might want to go through all those parts and say,
Yeah.
you're going to be charged for this part, this part, this part, this part if it's not returned on this day.
But that's still efficient though, because I do that. I'm trying to be more efficient.
Right.
That's okay to do?
Yes.
Okay.
So he had travel. We have some commentary from the Peanut Gallery. Better active listening, quick resolution. T is no nonsense. She is always to the point. So which is very true. I don't know if you guys have interacted with Tatiana at all. She's no BS. She's very direct. There's no sugarcoating ever. And she does not care if you have 5 other things going on. She needs this one thing done. Okay? So I feel like she could be a little bit more bubbly, a little bit more fun to talk to. Just as a customer care representative or even a CRS, we got to be able to make sure that it's fun for them to call into us. Not saying that you get to laugh and joke and all this other stuff, but just that they're not miserable when they call in. They're like, this girl again.
Or when they call India or Costa Rica, oh God.
So just a little bit more bubbly. She got the job done. She got exactly what she needed. And he was like, could you tell me, when someone says, could you tell me, it's a red flag to me saying, hey, you don't know what the crap you're talking about. You don't know. So I'm going to say, hey, well, you were supposed to install this part, this part, this part, this part. Can you confirm that you installed them and that the unit's fully functional? And he's going to say yes. Yeah, I installed those parts. Okay, so this part's returnable, this part's returnable, this part's returnable. She didn't tell him, she didn't offer to get the return tracking, which we can enter only at time of closure. It's the only time you can enter a return tracking number is at time of closure. The rest of the time it has to be on the portal.
Yeah, I got a question about that too.
Hang on.
I do too.
Hang on. Hang on. So she didn't offer to get a return track number. She didn't tell them which parts were returnable. She didn't confirm. You installed this part. You installed this part. Nothing like that. She just kind of was like, well, you know.
What were your times, what'd you do? Okay, it's closed, thank you.
Right. So she wasn't trying to get all of the information, and those parts and details is kind of what drives technicians to not want to work for Barrister. You wind up charging for parts that don't necessarily weren't their fault. Alicia, you got any feedback? You haven't said anything.
On this one, I just think if you are gonna be dry and blunt and to the point, if that's how it's gonna be, okay. But let the other person finish speaking before you start asking the next question, because she interrupted him a good bit, you know. And so you can be dry and to the point, but then when you start over speaking somebody or interrupting or going to the next question before they're finished, it's just kind of rude to me. And that's something we don't want to be to our technicians is rude. Hey, Miss Columbia.
Somebody else. So we had questions about these parts.
Yes, a return tracking questions, correct? Is that what y'all have questions about? I never enter return tracking because I thought that I was taught, I might have misunderstood, that we never enter return tracking because if we mess it up, it's on us. Like, type in a wrong letter, hear it wrong, whatever. That only they can do it.
Really easy fix for that, repeat the tracking number back to them every single time.
I'm gonna do it. Let's do it.
Every-
When I say tracking numbers.
And that from working in logistics and working CRS, they give you that tracking number, okay, let me repeat it back to you, make sure I have it correct. So that way, if it's at closure and you're entering it, you're helping them, you're making sure it's confirmed correct,
Yeah.
so they don't get charged for it.
And I'm allowed to do that.
You're allowed to.
Okay.
Only at time of closure.
Yeah, but what about that email?
We were told not to do it.
You were told not to. I know that you were told not to. At time of closure is the only time where it's acceptable. And I'll publish it. I don't care. At time of closure is the only time where it's acceptable. They can go on the portal and edit it. By all means, if they're proactively looking at it, and they're saying, hey, this isn't tracking, I'm about to be charged for this part, they can go ahead and edit that tracking number. I don't care. You can tell them, okay, this part's returnable. You need to go and enter your return tracking. It's due within 10 days of the call closure. You can do all of those things. I would proactively at least let them know that their part is returnable.
I'm not in the way, huh?
Or, no.
We talked about that one time, remember? About the return parts, and you said that your specific words to me was to,
Directly to the portal and ask.
right, because what if I'm wrong? What if I tell him something's not returnable and it is?
So, good question. You can differentiate. It does say that it's yes or no returnable when you mark it as used, good, unused, whatever. It's not always right, so I understand the concern there, which is where my process took place, and it's not necessarily an SOP or anything. So my process and the way that I do it is, I'll look at it and I'll say, okay, so this part is marked as returnable, go and do it. Or go on the portal and request your return.
And you know, I started doing that too. I was like, hey, this is what it's showing to me, but double check on the portal.
Right,
And-
so,
And to cover yourself with returnable parts, when you have ones that you're not sure are returnable, if you have a question, tell the tech, okay, I'm looking at the call, it tells me it's not returnable, but if you think differently, email Coors and they will tell you for sure whether or not it's returnable.
we're not even.
Oh.
And I've told him before, some called me, he's like, this part says not returnable, but I have a return tracking. I said, return it.
Yeah.
It can't hurt,
That's what
return
I'm
it.
saying. Send it back.
Return it,
Yeah,
cover your
send it
butt,
back.
return it.
So I'm gonna speak once more, and if you've
Okay.
got something over there, I keep seeing her raise her hand. So the way that I do it, hey dude, this doesn't say that it's returnable, but by all means to cover your butt and make sure that you have it in writing, go on the BAM portal, request a return label, and they will either tell you this is not a returnable part, and you have it in the email, or they will send you a return label, just so you make sure that you don't get charged for it.
Okay.
Because I missed it, I had to clock in. We can't request return labels.
We do not request return labels, they have to do it on the portal.
Okay.
Okay.
I've had several technicians tell me, well, so-and-so did it, and I'm like, well, I don't know how she did it, because I never learned how.
All right, that sentence that you said before, can you repeat it? Before she said something?
Hey technician, I'm showing that this part's not returnable.
Uh-huh.
To cover your butt and make sure that you aren't charged for the part. Go into the portal, request a return label. You will either get an email saying that it is not a returnable part and to dispose, or you will get a return tracking number.
Okay.
Like Friday, when the portal wasn't working, but anyway, it's happened before that too. We can still go to courts? Or
So
should
I'm
we
gonna
tell,
go with
I
an
tell
SOP of
them?
no. Do not go to course. Okay?
By the time you get back to you, the ticket's gonna be closed anyways.
No, they were very
They're
quick
really good.
Friday.
They're
Were they?
really good. Like,
They didn't respond to me, it's like 3 days ago.
so our course team is excellent as far as getting return tracking numbers.
Clearly.
Because we've instilled into them that these technicians are getting parts. They're getting charged for parts. It's not fair. Okay? So if the portal is down, we need to know what error message they're getting. We need to know why it's down. We need to know all of that information so we can go to BAM and say, hey, we got a problem. We got a huge problem because all these technicians are from this point on, required to close in the portal, and now they can't. So we gotta know about it. If we don't know about it, then nobody knows about it, right?
So who do we notify? You? Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
I don't know, Sean wants
Because
to be
what
done.
I did was I sent the email to Coors and Tech Management with his BAS ID, telling them he couldn't get on the portal. And he had a part that says returnable in the machine, but no label. And then I copied him on it, so everything went to him rather than coming to me.
Right. So I would rather us not go to our course team. I would rather push these people to the portal and let them know, okay, I understand your frustration. Let me take it to my management team and we'll try and get the portal back up and running, try in about 30 minutes.
In the script, it says you're responsible for all returnable parts. If you're unsure if the part's returnable or you need a return label, contact the account manager. So we're telling them if they need a return label to call us.
Right.
In the script.
She would know.
No. We are telling them if they're unsure to contact you.
Right.
To which you'll tell them, I'm showing them this. I'm showing this, but everything else you can find out on the portal. You can decide what you want to do on the portal.
Should we maybe add to that script if you are unsure about parts?
You don't have to add anything else to that script.
Okay.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, I know, she says it all the time.
It's pretty winded.
Where do you check to see if the parts are over? Because sometimes I notice, it'll tell you like in the notes when you like.
It'll
check out
also
or
say on the
something.
part line, like
On
if
the
you,
part line?
like
If
where
you
it has,
scroll
look, if you
over.
scroll all the way over,
To the end.
it'll tell you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
You don't.
Yeah, it tells you a whole list of things all across the part
Yeah.
line.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, I'm sorry, the end user was long-winded. What's the earliest you can do on Monday?
I mean, what, were they requesting a certain time or?
As soon as you get there. I mean, he wanted it done yesterday, even though they just went down on Wednesday. But I mean, I can't do anything if you have to.
Right, me
And
neither.
during that.
Well, we can do 9.
Okay, so I'll do 9. Do you know how long it's gonna take you to perform this repair? Do you have any
I mean,
idea?
if it's,
And I know it obviously doesn't, there's no, I know you're not a psychic or anything, but I'm not technical, so I have no idea what kind of time frame we're looking at.
see, there's like 3 different parts that it could be. If it's the main board, it could take me probably 2 hours. If it's the power supply, it could take me 30 minutes. I mean, range between 30 minutes to 2 hours.
Now, wait, time out here. This is weird. I have a question. These parts here, I have 3 parts with this, or 2 parts with the same, or this up for 9 to 11 with the end user. He's only in one. I don't want to make him any more angry. I'm gonna click right back over and I'm gonna tell you where these parts are. So this is all taken care of for Monday, okay?
Okay.
All right, 1 second.
This is a queue call.
Is that gonna be the last one, Candace, or no?
No, we can keep going. For the next 30 minutes, is what I projected.
What time is it?
10.
Okay, so is that are y'all gonna play the rest or that's?
Oh, no, that was it for that. I just meant, are we gonna listen to it?
Oh, okay, so there's a lot of negatives there. First of all, it sounded like I did not know what was going on because I legitimately had no idea what was going on. There was some really weird stuff going on with the parts on that one, and I was trying to figure it out while being on the phone with him. He originally told me he went to site and the parts weren't there, but we had a note in there that says Victor from HP told us the parts had arrived early, but the parts weren't there. One part was shipped to two parts were shipped to a whole facility, but one part was out for delivery to site, which didn't make any sense. Yet UPS got there, and they didn't bring the part. So there was.
They couldn't find the address. That call was just screwed up all.
I ended up having to get a new subcase open, the parts were ordered and everything for him to go back out on Wednesday. But the end user, even though he understood that to perform the repair we needed the parts, he didn't care. He was still angry and wanted it done right now. So I was trying to see if there was a way I could get it done today. If I could somehow figure out where that one part was floating around and get the other two from the whole for pickup facility. Anyway, all of this is going on in my head and it shows through the call that I'm completely confused. Because I was trying to figure it out and talk at the same time. Since it's a queue call, you can't figure it out before you call.
Right. But you could put them on hold just to gather your thoughts.
Okay.
And not that, I mean, it's gonna it might make the conversation a little bit longer, but if you know what you're talking about, you can come back, set it, be done and gone.
That was one of your calls, Brandy. That was one of those HP Break Fix TS Atlanta calls.
Those ones where they promised them next day on site.
And never deliver, yes, I know.
Yeah, never deliver, and they order the parts 2 days after they order whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so I can't really think of, the only good thing I could think of with that one is if you would have heard the rest, the end user ended up being very happy with me being thorough and getting it taken care of, for Wednesday with new parts directly to him, all that, but obviously the call was a mess.
So, I heard some stuff, but I didn't hear my direct questions answered. So, one negative thing and one positive thing.
The negative thing was that I sounded confused. And I should have, even though I was confused, I should have, like they said, put him on hold, got unconfused, and got an action plan, and then took him off of hold and said, here, this is what we're gonna do.
Alright, and a positive?
A positive is that in the end, because I know that I did resolve.
Stop. This call.
Okay. By the time y'all stopped. A positive. I don't really have one.
You were trying to avoid problems too. You were trying to make sure that the things were done
You're trying to get taken care of today, as opposed to being like, oh, well, you know, parts aren't going to be there. Sorry, we're going to have to reschedule. You were doing what you could to make it happen today.
Even though you were confused, you were still trying to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's positive.
The only question I had was, you asked him how long he thought the repair was gonna take. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
That's because I was going back and forth from the end user. The end user wanted to know how long is it gonna take.
Sometimes, for some reason, with those HP break fix ones, sometimes they want to know, because they want to know how long their server's going to be down.
They want to know, and they want to know how long they're gonna have to stay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're working on a laptop or a desktop or a printer, the time frame, that's why we give them 2-hour windows. Well, whoever it is.
No, the 2-hour window is for
Arrival.
for the arrival. It
Right.
has nothing to do with the repair itself.
And this was a server.
And most of the
The
HP,
trip that we pay them, that's for 2 hours of time on site. If it goes
That's
past
for the
that.
end user. The reason we give them a 2-hour window is for the tech's arrival. That
I
doesn't
know.
necessarily mean that the repair is going to take 2 hours. So most
you guys are
customers
talking about two
ask.
different things.
No, most customers ask how long it's going to take.
Which is why she asked how long it was going to take, because I know, because I worked at Atlanta Break Fix, they want to know how long their server's going to be down. That's what they want to know.
And if they're server calls, that makes sense.
Right.
Anything else, I would just be like, sir, I'm
Right.
sorry.
Anything else,
a
I'm not that
technician.
concerned about.
I can't
Yeah.
tell
Right.
you how long it'll take. I know that he's gonna be here between this time and this time, and he will get it done as quickly as he can. and I would just leave it at that.
Yeah, that one was a server call, but for other ones, yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I'll
that, I
go ahead
don't, I
and do
don't
that.
indulge that necessarily, yeah.
Okay, so I'm with Charlie here. Hey, you there? Is never an acceptable anything. Ever. Thank you for holding, blah, blah, blah. Anything to be more etiquette-like. So, you work in a professional environment. Hey, you there? Is something that I say to Lauren, right? Hey, you there? After I put her on hold because I'm sending a text message driving down the road and an email that just came through, right? So, like, that's something that you do on an everyday basis. I do not work for people. I don't pay people to not be professional. So I don't pay technicians to score us a 0, right? We don't pay technicians to score us a 0. Right. So we're not gonna do that to them. Obviously, there are technicians that I like better than other technicians, but ultimately, they all have to be professional for us. So they all have to be and exude the same confidence and the same respect to them. If Miss Deborah heard that call, you'd be in her office. I don't like going to Miss Deborah's office ever, and I'm just throwing that out there. We just need to really focus on our professionalism. Something that you did really good is you communicated. So you might have said, wait, no, I'm confused, I have questions, which threw him off. You could hear that it threw him off. Put him on hold. Hey, sir, I just want to go over the notes. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the correct information. I'm going to put you on a brief hold, and I'll be right back with you, okay? Technicians are receptive to you trying to get their stuff done. So that would be a good idea. But you were trying to get it accomplished as best as possible. So thank you for trying that, for trying to get it done, trying to get in service, and ultimately making that customer happy. By all means. We have probably time for one more, and then we gotta get started with some other stuff.
Thank you for calling. This is Shannon. How can I help you? Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Sure.
Good to hear from you. I'm looking at the work order now of 3892258.
Yes,
Okay. So what happened with this one?
Okay, I found out what that issue was, they got a wiring problem there.
In the building or?
Just that room, you know.
Okay.
The room has a number of circuit breakers to it, but you know, so you can confuse it. So they got about half a dozen circuits. The circuit that she has the trainer on, I couldn't find the circuit breaker. I got the geometries involved and everything. So we went around and looked at all the breakers that was marked on the room. So it must be something internal, you know, like an outlet that you use.
Okay, so did you test it on a different outlet?
I sure did.
And it worked?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So we didn't need the power supply or the fuser?
Well, I put the fuse in anyway because, you know, the complaint about the other one being so hot.
Okay.
But I didn't put the power supply in.
All right, so what time did you dispatch? What time did you arrive on site yesterday?
Okay, I dispatched at 2:30, got there at 3:15, so got my phone and go back for it.
That's fine. I was just worried because I hadn't heard back from you.
No, I waited, I stayed on the phone for over 20 minutes, about 24 minutes the first time, and the next time was about 40 minutes, so I didn't get anybody, so. I went to gone, and then I was all the way to.
So power supply is being returned good unused. There's a wiring problem in the room where the printer is. Who signed your paperwork? Was it Jana?
No, Vanessa Sasser.
Vanessa Sasser? Okay. Because it's always either her or Ms. Bullard.
Yeah.
She's her partner in crime.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was Charles Pace. I know exactly who that was and I know exactly what call this
What
is.
time did you end up leaving for your job?
4:15.
4:15, alright. So looks like, let me just go through the notes on this ticket real quick. Just trying to update everything so we can get this one closed out. So the fuser was installed, the main power supply is being returned to get unused. Alright.
I do too sometimes.
Nothing sweet.
Is your stomach upset?
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking because I have like the little Alka-Seltzer.
Oh,
chewable things. They
No.
taste like candy.
I located the first garbage can when I came in.
Too much drink. Sorry.
Are you still talking?
No,
She's reading
I'm,
notes.
I'm typing the closing notes.
She uses mute a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I type really loud and really fast, and
And you
I
don't know
don't
what
want them
people
to
around
have to
you
sit there and listen to that. But it causes dead air, and that's an issue.
And I read out loud a lot. Like, so I try to use
So I
music.
noted that it was a wiring issue in the building, was causing issues with the power